Hello and welcome to another stream with another incredible game. Today, Batora lost
Evan, and with me, the incredible Giacomo Masi. Giacomo, hello, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you guys. I'm very good, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you for having me here to show our latest work, Batora.
I'm very happy to be with you, and I'm very happy.
Very happy to be given the possibility to stream Batora. Let's switch to the game because people want to see the game, do not want to see my face. Giacomo, can you tell us a little bit about Batora?
Yeah, of course. Batora is an action RPG with an isometric view in which you play as Avril, a 16 years old girl who lived in an half-destroyed Earth. She was given powers by Sun and Moon, two deities, and in order to restore what was, restore her to its former glory. During the game, we will have to, travel alongside around four different planets, four elemental planets, and our mission is to recover their core and restore balance because we have become the keeper of balance. Even though we really don't know why they chose us as the keeper of balance at the beginning. The game has multiple branches, multiple story branches. So basically, you can make your own path. You have multiple decisions inside the story that will change the story dramatically, even missions in itself. Regarding the combat system, the gameplay is divided in two different forms. You have the physical form and the mental form. In the physical form, you have melee attacks and melee skills related to the blazing sword, which are the power of sun. And then you have a mental form in which you have projectiles and becomes a way more like a twin stick shooter kind of game. And all the skills are change as well. In the game, you have three different kind of enemies: mental, physical, and hybrid. And in order to defeat them, you need to switch to the correct form accordingly. The main character, Errol, has two HP bars at the same time. If one of them reaches zero, it's game over. So you have the physical health bar and the mental health bar. Everything in the game is related to balance and duality. So basically, even the build inside the game, because you can actually equip runes in order to change your stats and make your own build. The kind of rune that you can equip and the kind of rune that you can actually unlock during the game are dependent on the choices that you make. Because you have two different philosophies, let's call it like that: conqueror and defender. Defender is more like a more diplomatic approach, whilst conqueror is more like the end justify the means. There are no good or bad, it's not like evil or good kind of choices. In reality, they are both very neutral, because Emerald is not a bad girl. But the thing is, the main theme of Batora is you are supposed to be the keeper of balance, but you are a 16-year-old girl, and teenagers are everything except balanced in normally.
Yeah.
So basically, you will make disasters everywhere you go, because basically you're a demigod that needs to basically go in alien planets, and you can actually change how the politics works, and how the world will behave in itself, because basically you are the Deus Ex Machina who can change everything. But since you are not a very wise person at the beginning, your concept being just good for its own sake will have dramatic consequences. And every planet is completely different and will feature different enemies, enigmas, and puzzles in itself. This duality, the physical and mental form, will also have a huge part in the puzzles, because there are environmental puzzles inside of the game, and in order to surpass them, you need to use both the forms, and to move objects, or activate triggers, or levitate towards the level. So everything is related to those two forms. Here we are at the start of the game in London, and we are still on Earth, and right now we are just normal human beings. And this is the overview of the game in itself.
Okay. Shiryu, can you again check on the sound and see if everything is okay now? There's someone on the chat saying that the audio is not coming from the direct feed. I do not know if I have to do something. I've tried to change the source. If everything is okay, they can ask me. Well, even the dichotomy between Avril and Mila is very noticeable. Mila is very conservative, and Avril is our character is completely let's go and let's go. And they have she has no afraid of doing anything. I do not know what to do more. I've changed the source. Perhaps it's not on me.
Yeah, Mila, it's our companion. Let's say during the game we will also have companions that will help us during fights. Mila is the person who is going to follow us during our journey. Is our best friend, but she's way more rational and way more, smart and cool in everything. And it's the voice of reason, basically. But and during the game, we will have to make many tough choices which are most related to saving our planet or trying to adjust things in the place where we are going without doing too much damage at the same time. And regarding the art style, we have a retro sci-fi kind of art style. We have decided to make something really unique, and our main goal in the game was made to make a very intense story whilst doing creating a very unique gameplay that could feel fresh and very enjoyable to everyone, even though even to people who are not very keen in action games, which was a game, it's not very complex at the beginning, but it becomes step by step way harder. And so once you get all the skills, so this is a game for everyone, not just people who are really into action games, but this is also a product for people who just want to enjoy a very good and intense story.
I'm not a long age fan of action RPGs. Actually, it was 2 or 3 years ago that I've started playing them. And I've always asked myself why I cannot control the characters with the keyboard keys. And it was something that I never understood quite well. And it's great that I can control the characters with my mouse and also with the keys. It was a good addition to the game. And I agree with you that this game doesn't seem very complex at the beginning, and progress and gradually it becomes way more complex. Where is Stormind Games, your studio, based
Is
from?
in Catania, Sicily, in Italy. So it's in the southern part of Italy, and we are a studio would basically focuses around developing intense stories. We have been working on Remothered before, but this
Yeah.
is our first 100% IP, because in Remothered we just developed the game. This game is it's our own IP, so we decided to do something completely different from the past.
Yeah, it's when I saw Stormind Games, I reminded instantly about Remothered. Then I thought, well, this is not
No.
even close. The game, an horror game, and then an action RPG, a colorful, not colorful, but artistic RPG. It's very different.
Absolutely. We decided to change the pace and our idea, even though the main core of everything we did, it's still there. So intense stories, a cinematic approach in cutscenes and in the narration. So the core of Stormwind is still there, even though we changed genre completely. We decided to do this because honestly, we thought that with this kind of story, it would have been optimal. And because the game comes from the inspiration from the game comes from a book called the Batora Il Risveglio, what was made by Annika Morris and published by Casa Editore. That was our starting point. And then from there, we decided to make our own path, just like in the game, to deliver a story that could feel fresh and different. Right now, we are in the tutorial arena in which we we one shot enemy because we are being taught
But
what is going on. Yeah.
how big is your team?
Right now, during Batora, we have been 50 people and 10 freelancer at top, basically during the development cycle. So there are many people work in the game at the same time, and because of course it has been our biggest project yet.
What were your biggest constraints when making this game?
Well, let's say that making this kind of gameplay wasn't easy because, of course, we took inspiration from games like Darksiders Genesis, gameplay wise, and on stories we tried to make something like Life is Strange or multi-branching kind of games, and mixing them together and giving it a good feeling whilst playing it wasn't easy, especially because of course action games are really hard to make and balance, of course, and this is a unique kind of approach towards the action genre, and because of the two forms, different skills. Right now you don't have any skills at the start of the game, but when you have them you can actually combo them together, and you need to switch constantly between one form and the other, and creating something that could be enjoyable and accessible at the same time. It wasn't easy, and we have put a lot of effort also to make every world that feel unique, and with different biomes. And even when you go in the world of wind, or in the wind world, in reality there are a lot of different environment, from a desert to, well, an ancient and spiritual lake, and a frozen mountain, an ancient city. We try to to do as much diversity as possible with characters, and the exploration, in order to give something a truly unique experience. And that wasn't easy. It took a lot of time, but we are really happy with the result.
Yeah, we have already. We of course we have time constraints. The stream is about 50 minutes, and people will probably do not see the different biomes, but believe me, they are different and clearly distinct between each other. And I've loved that. The storyline is very intriguing. Start from the beginning. Since the first dialogue, we are intrigued with the storyline because we are in a post-apocalyptic event that just killed 2/3 of the humanity, and uh, Avril just lost everyone on her family. This is not spoilers. It's
It's in the
told to
start of
us
the
in the
game.
beginning. Yes, in the beginning of the story. And Mila, her companion, just lost part of her family. So Avril just wants to save what she can save, and Mila just goes through a dichotomy between protecting her family and playing safe. But they are 16 years old. 16. I think the age here is very important, since with 16 years old, we just thought that we can save everything, save
Yeah,
the world.
exactly. That's the
We
main
were
concept.
adventurers. We were brave. We were not scared of anything. The world was on our hands. It was a great idea.
Yeah, the idea was what would happen in reality when you give a lot of power to a 16 years old who think herself as a savior, but in reality things are way more complex than just I'm going to save everyone and that's it. The initial story, it's really simple. You just need to save Earth because you become the chosen one and stuff. But there is a reason why the story is so simple, because it becomes way more mature and darker in the more you go on. And after you take your first decision, you will become you will start to feel like, okay, maybe this game is not as cheerful as it may sound.
Indeed, almost from the beginning, we have important decisions to make, like if you want to help people, not people, but if you want to be helpful or just to go along with our quest and without caring with anyone. It's well, it seems easy to decide, but it isn't. Believe me, it is. Sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
Shiryu, this is heavy in a way. In a way, it's very heavy, but the game design just makes it a bit easier to understand and to take part in this gameplay. It's a bit hard to explain for me with my bad English, but it's very well balanced, the story and the importance of the story, the drama, and the gameplay.
Yeah, and as I said before, it's not a game in which you need to have played hundreds of different action RPG before this. It's a pick up and play game, especially at the beginning, and so especially because it's a story driven game in the end. So the story is extremely important, and the experience in itself, the journey is the real reason why you should play Batora. Even though the gameplay it's incredibly fun and very fast paced, as you will see now. Right now, we only have the physical form at the start, so we just use our sword, and we don't have any skill yet, except for the roll, which has a cooldown, of course. And
Yes.
we can't even right now we can't equip runes. We can customize our character, even though we can do different combos, of course, with the sword from the beginning. And of course, it's a matter of it's a placement heavy game, so you need to decide where to go, when to strike, when to dodge, and when to move. And this become extremely important when you once you unlock the mental form as well, which has projectiles. Oh,
If you
yeah.
notice, some attacks are telegraphed. You see a visual cue to say as dodge guy. You have to dodge. It's important to our gameplay to be able to see when we will be attacked.
Absolutely. And it's extremely important to at the start, of course, it's easy to telegraph them, but after a while, it's choosing the right form, using the right skill in the right combination becomes extremely important. And again, for people who love the lore aspect of the game, the world building aspect of the game, we have a very big codex inside of the game in which that you can unlock during the playthrough, and you will learn a lot more about the game in itself. At the start, you don't have many of course entries, and but after a while, you can unlock a lot regarding planets. The history of the planets, the different races, the people that inhabits it, the monsters, and everything else. Because of course, not everything is explained in the main story. So if you want to know more about what's going on, you need to discover those different things and learn about the, what's going on in every planet.
Bruno Carvalho, this is the final release. The game is already
Yeah.
out. It's released already.
Yes, it is.
The link, Bekas just put on the stream the link to the Steam link, so you can click on it. It's already out.
It has been out, and it's on PlayStation, Xbox, and it will be on Switch soon.
Will you have a physical release?
And we are thinking about it, but it's not something we right now. No, or right now there is no physical.
The game is published by Team 17, a
Yes.
very experienced team. I remember from the top of my head, Narita Boy, My Time at Porsche, Overcooked, Worms. Is is it important for a small team like Stormind Games to have such as experienced publisher behind you?
Let's say that publishers are extremely important for everyone, and if you want to deliver the game all around the world and have a lot of different languages inside of the game, for example, because publisher can help a lot on translations just for once, or just for if you want to release the game in a lot of consoles and on PC at the same time. It's really important on QA, so it's basically on debugging. Yes, of course. So to answer you, yes, of course, Team 17 has been a huge help, and expertise and fame. It's really important, especially because of uh, the past the noise that you can make on the market because of how big they are and our experience. They are very good in marketing, so it has been a very it has been a very very important collaboration between us. They liked the idea of the game, and we have been for a good partner. So it has been a pleasure to work with them.
Great, Bruno Carvalho. It's on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Every
yes,
Xbox
it's
basically.
great when the publisher just gives us a hand, a massive help. Oof. I imagine it's a ton of work that you do not have to do by yourself.
Let's say that due to the immense amount of dialogues and the codex, especially the codex is huge. Just for the translation part, it has been a huge help, and of course, action RPG are not easy to develop. So on the debugging side of things, it has been very helpful as well. And so again, this is our biggest project yet, so we needed help on that on every regard, of course.
This is the first NPC that we uncovered during the game, and she's part of the storyline, the main quest of this game.
She's Sheila. She's part of the Builder tribe. Right now, we are on Grisha, which is the planet of Earth. So basically, it's determined by huge crystals. Everything is related to rocks, minerals, and stuff like that. This is the first planet, so it's pretty straightforward in itself, and and it features a war between this Builder tribe that we are seeing here for and which is composed of different races, and the destroyers, which are basically the little fellas that we that we fought just before a second ago. And during this planet, we will have to make decisions related to political stuff and or how the balance between this faction works. And a very cool feature is that even just in the first planet, depending on the choices that you make, some missions may change. For example, not of course I will avoid spoilers, but some choices might lead you towards a puzzle, a more puzzle heavy kind of mission, and another choice might lead you towards a more fighting oriented mission.
I have not noticed that.
Oh,
Okay, this is the first mention to the codex. The codex at this stage, as you've mentioned, is quite
small, of course.
small. But I do not feel obliged at any point to use the codex to understand what is happening around me. Sometimes it's very annoying when the game just tells us the story in the codex, and that does not happen here. The codex is a complement and not
Mandatory, of course.
integral part of the gameplay.
Of course, as I mentioned before, you can enjoy the whole story without even opening the codex, of course. But in order to avoid too much stuff at once, because of again the world are very complex on how they works,
Yes.
how they work. But you could just play without knowing anything about the world in itself, and it's completely fine because the story it's on itself. It's a different thing from the background.
We in action RPGs we already are expecting a codex, but this game is very good in giving us information outside the codex.
Absolutely.
Life, I need some life. It's very hard to play and to talk and play at the same time.
No, I understand that. I would never be able to do that. I'm not that good. Of course, inside the game we have different currencies, and then that you can spend to buy runes. Of course, the rarest the currency, the better the runes, and you have different vendors, and that have different kind of. It means that you can actually equip to change your builds dramatically. You can become way more a glass cannon, more tanky, more healing oriented, more skill oriented. You have a lot of different options, and they are really easy to use. So it's not a matter you're gonna have to spend hours to inside the menu in order to to find your own build or your own playstyle.
Will this game at any point have a co-op? Will have a co-op option? Are you planning on it, or
That would
it's
be
very
very
hard?
good. That would be a very good thing because of course the game in itself, this game would be amazing in co-op. But right now it's just a single player game. But of course it would be very cool to have co-op. Absolutely.
It's very fun in a single player. Believe me, it's very fun. Close. I will meet some friends. Okay. I'm trying to read this so I do not miss anything important.
Right now we have the first companion. If the companion dies, it's game over. So sometimes you need to protect it or her.
Ooh, I did not know that. I did not know that. I thought that Sheila would never die.
And there is a right now it's really hard to make her die at the start of the game, but the more you go on, it becomes way harder to even just to protect them. You need to change your stance and your skills in order you use your skills in order to avoid too much aggro on them, especially from the second planet onwards.
Yeah, the difficulty is noticeable. It's way higher on the second planet.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Once you unlock skills, the game becomes, we adjusted the enemy, oh, and of course, at the start of the game, again, it's very linear and simple. Right now, you just have to do the normal attack. Very soon, we will unlock the mental version of, our mental state, and from that point onwards, we will also meet the other kind of enemies, the mental enemies, and then hybrids. Hybrids have two health bar at once, just like us. So you need to defeat them in both stances. And once you deplete the mental or physical bar of the hybrid, he will go berserk basically, and will become way stronger in his remaining health. So, for example, if you heal him in his physical form and the mental bar is there, it will become way stronger in the mental part. And bosses as well, of course, have two health bars at once. And bosses are a huge part of the game, and we are really happy on the results.
How hard it was for you guys to design the bosses and to make them balance to be fighting against our character?
We did a lot of iteration on the bosses. We changed them a lot. We have been, adjusting and tweaking them for the whole development cycle, really. And some of them stayed similar. Some of them were transformed completely because our final aim was to make a boss fight fun and interactive and fast in order to because the thing is that we didn't want to make a complex boss fight. Our main aim was to make it fun and feel like an adrenalinic experience, and that could be enjoyable. And you need to think because they are not easy. They are not extremely difficult or complex on the mechanic side, but you need to dodge and you need to learn their patterns like in in good action RPGs. Even though, as I don't think we will reach the first boss, but in my opinion, the boss battles are one of the best parts of the game.
On most games, I just do not like. I feel that the design of bosses is not very well made because or the skill gap it's huge between the level design and the boss design, or the opposite. The boss is so easy that it's pointless to have it, and here the balance it's quite well made. You reach a very good soft spot.
Thank you very much. It has been very cool and fun to try and test them. And again, since bosses have two different forms, bosses have physical and mental form, as I mentioned before, two different HP bar. So basically, they have very different moves and aptitudes are and attacks, and you need to switch accordingly. And so it was really fun to imagine how they would behave in their different forms. And of course, more complex bosses are, the bosses in the latest part of the game were extremely hard to balance, but it was very very fun. The game design department did a very good job.
Now you have unlocked the mental form that you have told us previously. I think it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and you can switch just by pressing a button, basically. So
Yes.
it's instantaneous and very fast. So it's not something that you need to, you don't need to press 200 buttons at once in order to do something. And again, giving an adrenalinic kind of approach and the sense of very fast paced combat was one of our aim during the whole development cycle.
Yeah. I'm not able to perform a lot of actions per second. I'm not one of those guys, and here you were careful, and we do not need to be that crazy guy that is able to do everything at the same time. It's very easy to perform things that seem way much more complex in the screen, but they are very easy to perform when playing, of course.
Yeah, the idea was again to make a game for everyone, and it's not an extremely
It's
hardcore game.
yeah, it's very user friendly. It becomes complex, but at that point you will know perfectly what to do. It's like driving. At the beginning, we everything it's hard for us, but then, well, with time it becomes easier and easier. Okay, I know that I will have a decision somewhere now.
Yeah. So again, right now we don't have skills in itself. We just unlocked the new form, but we
Yes.
will go and have basically a lot of different skills for both of the forms, and they link together and they can combo together. So that's pretty fun.
Those blue butterflies that you are seeing at the screen, let me send another ones. It's like a quest marker. I have to follow them to know where to go. We have a map on top right. It's behind the IndieX logo and RTP Arena logo. We can follow the map, but it's way easier to just follow the butterflies.
Yeah, the map it's more like if you want to find crystal to recover health, or if you want to have an idea or of where the chest could be, because of course there are a lot of chests and drops inside
Yeah.
of the game. Even though it's not a drop based game, it's not Diablo, of course, but you can actually find a lot of stuff inside crystals or chests. This is the mental form, as I mentioned. You have different attacks in mental form as well. You have a way faster kind of shooting phase, let's call it like that, that does less damage, but it's faster again, so you can more easily dodge. Or you have a slower and way more powerful kind of way to shoot, and that's very useful against slower enemies, or if you are very distant from the enemy. So you can adjust accordingly by pressing the logic button. Again, it has a twin stick shooter kind of approach.
Yeah. Yes, Shiryu, it's a great implementation. Yes, it is. I've loved this. I do not remember. My first thought was not Xenoblade Chronicles. It was that ninja game on PlayStation. I do not remember the name. Oh, damn it! But who cares? It's great. We do not ever feel lost in this world. I was never lost when playing it.
No, the idea was to make a game that could be enjoyed even for those who don't. So you can explore, of course. You can explore and search for codexes or unlockables, or by unlockables I mean runes and more gold. Basically, even that you could do different currencies, but it's it's a very easy game to explore and to enjoy because we wanted to focus on the exploration, the enjoyment of going on with the plot whilst also traveling alongside an alien planet that could feel unique.
Yes, Shiryu. Ninja Who Cares was a very underrated game. It's a AAA game and they all feel the same. It's Ninja Who Cares, one of the best Sony exclusives. I'm not very good with AAA games, as you may notice. Usually I just play indie games. To release directional project. So okay. Let's go. The first enemies.
Yeah. As you can see, now you have a different kind of enemies. These are, if you try to hit them in physical form, you won't do much damage, and you can still do damage to them, but it's way lower. And but of course, you need to adjust, and depending on the enemies that you have. Of course, right now they are just purple enemies because, of course, it's a tutorial. But after a while, you will meet both at the same time, both forms at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say that so people could see. We have to make options and destroy some of them first, and then go for the others.
Yeah. Or you can just mix and match and do both at the same time if you are if you are brave
Yeah,
enough.
good enough. Yeah. If we are good enough, we can adapt. Yeah, on the go. My brain does not think as quickly as that. I usually go first for the ranged ones and then to the melee ones.
I did the same. Don't get me wrong. I did the same the same as you. I usually do that, or in the opposite, maybe first physical and then mental.
Okay, the first hybrid
Yeah.
combat will be now. We have to choose how to how to approach each situation, considering that the mental enemies will not, as Giacomo told us, will not be very much damaged with the physical attacks and vice versa. And so you will see. We'll see. Oh, I was stuck there. The change is seamlessly, flawlessly, and very quick.
Yep. Of course, you have different waves of enemies. We have monsters may vary a lot depending on the planet, and they become way more aggressive and way more dangerous and powerful attacks the more you go on, of course. And a lot of them are linked, or should use different skills in order to overcome them. So it's sometimes you need to think. Oh, and of course you can level up, even though it's you can. It's an RPG, so of course you have different levels.
The enemies are already leveling up.
Yep.
They are already level 2, 3. Okay, 3.
Yeah. Sometimes you can find tougher enemies than you, of course, and but it's balanced around, of course, your current level. And of course, the game has this is important. The game has a new game plus feature, so it can be played again by maintaining your level and just go again because the game is highly replayable due to its story. It has four different endings. The game has four different endings, and it changes a lot. Not just the ending, but the game changes a lot depending on the choices that you make, story wise and mission wise, as I mentioned.
Okay. That is great. How long, more or less, do you think the game is the storyline? Well,
Depends on how much you want to read and you want to explore. But let's say from 8 to 10 hours normally. 12 if you want to read everything and roam around. But you can replay it even just 4 times basically to see everything.
okay, the game has a good amount of replay value. The story can go on different paths, and from what I've played already, and I've played for 2 hours or so, we can make different options and explore a little bit. Not a huge exploration, but it's possible to explore a bit. 10
Absolutely.
hours is very good because you will not overstay your welcome. Sometimes the games become annoying at some place at some time. I've never felt that.
Yeah.
Okay, I've lost my companion. There we go.
The idea was to make, as you mentioned, uh, a good experience that shouldn't brag too much about how lengthy it should be. We made the game as long as it should be for the story that is going on, and to avoid boredom and say, yeah, this game is too long, this place is boring because I have been here for a lot of time. So we wanted to keep the experience fresh.
Yeah.
But it's
The,
it's not a short
yeah.
game, but we didn't want to go on and make an incredibly lengthy game because honestly, the experience would be worse.
Sometimes the game's lost when they try to do many things at the same time and to go for another 2 or 3 hours, but those 2 or 3 hours became boring and pointless. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm with you guys. You were telling me previously, you guys do not know, but the nickname of Giacomo is Buon Diavolo, and I asked him if it was a pun to just to say that this game was a better Diablo.
No.
And
No. It's a yeah. For once, yeah, it's a very different game. Of course, in
it
scope
is, it is.
and its loot base, it's a very different game. No, but that's a sign of how into I am. No, how keen I am to play action RPG games because that's my real nickname on Diablo, and it has been there from like when I was 13, I think, years old, and I was playing Diablo. There is a story behind it, but basically, I went into a good guy guild, and because we were chasing player killers, basically back then, and Buon it's like good in Italian, so it's like. It's a good a good devil. Let's call it like that. It's a silly name, but it has always been my nickname.
It's not silly. I do not think so. You never mentioned Diablo in your inspirations, but I've felt some sort of Diablo like here. Well, it's an action RPG, of course, but how do I talk with this?
No, these ones are like barks, so it's like you just talk while you pass on, and actually
Oh,
their
okay.
dialogues changes depending on the choices that you make. So it's like environmental speeches by people all around you. You have a lot of them, and they adapt again depending on what you did. Diablo was, of course, one of the inspiration, but it's a very different game, and of course, it's a way bigger game. But it's even in its let's say at its core, it's you play Diablo for a different reason. Let's put it like that. This game it's more based on a linear kind of progression and a multi-player story, and it has different forms. So it's a mixture of genres. It doesn't follow. Yeah, I know it's not like, let's say, Path of Exile, which is basically Diablo. Okay, different kind of Diablo.
Yes,
So this is
yes.
a very different kind of. Our aim in reality was we need to make something unique. We didn't want to copy and paste a different game. Otherwise, we wouldn't be happy with the result.
Shiryu, I understand your point that it seems like a twin stick shooter, but when playing, it's not quite the same. I understand your point. I have not thought about that previously, but I know what you're saying. It doesn't feel like one when playing.
Again, it's very seamless because it has twin stick shooter, kind of a twin stick shooter approach, but it's not like 100%. It's an hybrid of different genres at once.
This is the first.
Most yes, this is going to be
Yes.
the right. Sadly, it's not now. You're not going to fight him now,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
he is going to be.
Yeah, and your
Yeah,
time
and your
in our
time
time
in
is
our time
almost
is almost
ending.
ending.
Yep.
The
But
production, I think that in a second the production will tell me to stop. But
now, yeah, the game is it's again. I If you like narrative games or you like action RPGs, give Batora a try because honestly, I think you can enjoy it. Just And of course, you can enjoy it even if you are not extremely keen in both, but you like and you say, yeah, I have always wanted to try an action RPG or I'm really into stories. I honestly think Batora could be the game that suits you.
do you mind telling me what's going on? Okay, now this is the another. Yes, Shiryu. This is another one for the buy list. My wallet.
My wallet will suffer.
Sad for your wallet, but thank you.
This
Was on my
was on my radar for even if I would not be streaming it, I would buy him because it was on my radar for such a long time. Okay. Well, it cannot take much. Well, yes. Is it important
is
for
now
you
that the
guys
game
now
was
that the game was
released to wishlist it or
or
Yeah, it's extremely. If you can, please wishlist the game or follow our social medias, or if you want to support us by the game, of course, and let us know how do you feel by leaving a review. But wishlists are always important, even after the game has been released. Absolutely.
do you feel that wish listing when we wish list a game, everything that every time that the game is on promotion, on sale, we have a message with it. Do you feel that many people buy the game with those sales when they are called to action?
Of course, sales are always a good thing for a game because normally, that's why you wishlist a game. Normally, if you don't want to play it right now, perhaps you're waiting for a decent discount and then you go buy it. Of course, they are one of the best way we have to sell the game after a while. So, and that's why you should have, of course, normally you wishlist for this reason and. Most of this, during sales time, your Steam, for example, does a lot of sales, and those are one of the most important moments for a game normally.
Our time is running out. Giacomo, do you have any final words to give the audience?
Uh, let's say that if you want to support games that want to behave differently from normal, or if you want to try a different experience or something that could actually leave a mark upon your heart and that could feel fresh, please try to give Baton a chance. and because we have been working really hard to make something really unique. And I truly hope that you will, that we will leave a mark on you after the huge amount of work we did. And just if you want to support European games or indie games in general, that could be, we would be extremely happy to to know that you buy it and you enjoyed the game.
On top of indie games and European games, I would say a quality game on top of that.
Of course.
It's very important. Giacomo, it was a huge pleasure to be with you.
For me as
Thank
well.
you for taking your time to be here with me and with the audience on IndieX, RTP Arena, and Rubber Chicken TV. And for now, it's all, guys. See you in the next stream. Time on the Frog Island with Patricia Casaca. Wait 10 minutes for it. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Ciao, bye-bye.
Peggy 12.
What are you willing to sacrifice to save what you love?
Everything. I'm ready to sacrifice everything.
Prove it.
Why? I don't want to do this.